and thus some of my favorite running gags in this franchise are born. Welcome everyone to episode 3, Good Rotom Morning. I am the Rotom Dex. Now this episode introduces us to a feature that'll probably be a common thing in the Japanese version at least, where characters of the show say hello to the audience and pose a question as to what will happen throughout the episode, which in some ways can be seen as spoilers, but sure. I don't know if they'll carry over in the dub. I'm actually curious, but I'm probably doubtful that it will. Anyways, the actual episode opens with Team Rocket arriving in the Alola region, reaffirming their goal to establish a Team Rocket base here, and also showing a brief flashback where they were given this assignment from Giovanni, and also showing Meowth's jealousy over his sort of rival, Giovanni's Persian. Interestingly enough, they don't bring up Kalos at all. Now, we know that Kalos did happen, but realistically they didn't bring it up simply because it's a new series, and bringing up Kalos would be kind of confusing to newcomers to the series. But yeah, it's the reboot concept. It works, and it keeps things simple for the audience. Anyways, one intro and title card later, we are back at Professor Kukui's place where, like in the last episode, Kukui is giving Ash his new Pokédex. But something is missing, and it isn't quite ready, so in Kukui's basement, where he is at his giant computer screen setting things up, he turns on the switch, and even poor little Rockruff is getting spooked by the, well, turning on and off lights and the electric surges going all over the place, and a Rotom comes flying out of one of the outlets, and makes its way into Ash's Pokédex, and, well, takes an idea I had in the SL comic, but also an idea I feel like the games should have embraced a lot sooner, of Rotom inhabiting more objects than just the 5 he was initially given in Platinum, and basically fusing with the Pokédex and now being Ash's true travel companion. A floating and talking Pokédex with arms, legs, and honestly a personality that I don't immediately hate, which I was kind of worried I might have found it annoying. But I can tell you in future episodes, I don't really get annoyed by Rotom Dex, which is really credible to this series, though I wonder what's going to happen if we get a new game that doesn't have Rotom Dex. I wonder if he's going to get replaced. Oh boy. But yeah, Rotom Dex introduces himself, gets acquainted with Ash, and shows a strange issue I have with the Rotom Dex, because he has a camera, but it's only in the back. Most modern technology at least has a front and back camera, so while I get that he has to take pictures of Pokemon and other people with his back turned to them, I found it funny that he doesn't have a front camera, especially when even the 3DS has a front camera, albeit not a very good one, but still. And after scanning Pikachu and quickly irritating him, resulting in a big thunder shock for everyone, we cut to the forest where we see a familiar and, well, frankly terrifying yet amusing pink bear Pokemon just wandering about, along with some rustling grass that reveals a rather eerie and creepy Pokemon, with interesting sound design to say the least. We also see Litten one more time, just walking about, minding its own business, and frankly just being a cat. But back at the Pokemon School, Rotom Dex is introduced to the rest of our colorful cast, and gets to know everyone as well as increasing his vocabulary as he interacts with everyone, including Sophocles, who wants to take him apart and see what makes him tick. But before any technological surgery could happen, Rotom Dex is introduced to Samson, who fills him with very confusing Poke puns. Extremely confusing, because I don't think even the subtitles were able to comprehend what the principal of this school was talking about at that point. But after all of that chit-chat, Kukui gives Ash his next assignment, which, now that he has a Pokédex, is to go out and catch his first Alolan Pokemon. Not Alolan form, just a Pokemon from Alola. And so, it's a fieldwork assignment, and all of his classmates come join him as they make way into the forest. But in the forest, we see Team Rocket, who are just planning and being really excited about the fact that their new mission starts here, and they're gonna get things right. They're gonna catch all sorts of Pokemon, though Meowth seems to be already a little exhausted by the whole trek. Jessie does remark that the forest is kinda creepy and brings up ghosts, how they could be lurking about. And speak of the Cthulhu demon itself, Mimikyu pops out and quickly makes a creepy and haunting impression as it just, well, breaks its own neck. But even though Team Rocket initially mistakes it for a Pikachu, Meowth quickly points out this is no Pikachu. That is some kind of cloth hiding something very haunting and very creepy. But one commercial break later, we see Mimikyu is still giving Team Rocket the 1,000-yard stare of death, and Meowth is not thrilled about any of this. It's creepy, and the things it's saying are not exactly inviting. But Jessie is thrilled by the potential of Mimikyu, and chucks Meowth right at it, and goes for a Fury Swipes, which doesn't do anything because Mimikyu is, well, a ghost type. Meaning indeed, it is a haunted Cthulhu demon paranormal death creature. But Meowth dives back in, pulls up on its costume, and dies. He is literally walking down a creepy, grimy, dark tunnel, and he literally sees the light. Literally, the light is before him, and he runs right into it, and meets a bunch of waifus. Gardevoir, Lopunny, and Glaceon. Gardevoir and Lopunny. Okay, animation staff, I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of the weird fan art that can come out of Pokemon sometimes, so I'm pretty sure you're intentional when you were picking those two Pokemon. I don't know why you picked Glaceon, but sure, give Glaceon some love. But it turns out this is all an illusion, being concocted by Mimikyu, and I guess a family of ghost Pokemon, as Jessie and James try frantically to wake up Meowth, including spraying him down with water, and, well, they bring him back from the dead. I absolutely love how this series is not shying away from the fact that looking under Mimikyu will kill you. I love that. I love how messed up this is, and yet they fully embrace it. And it makes me wonder if the devil will go that far to say he outright died. But Team Rocket are suddenly startled as they hear rustling bushes. And hey, look, it's Ash and friends just going through the forest on their way to try and encounter a Pokemon for Ash to catch. Rotom does say their chances of encountering a Pokemon are good, which it should be, given how forests and stuff work in the games, where they're all over the place. But Team Rocket are surprised to see Ash and Pikachu here, since they weren't following him to this region, it was just pure coincidence. But, since this was the same place where Team Rocket were just battling Mimikyu, guess who Ash and friends encounter? Yep, they run into the same Mimikyu, who is still there, given the 1,000-yard stare, and Rotom Dex makes a quick scan of Mimikyu, and even brings up how Pokedex entries outright state that when people look under it, they die! And Meowth is just relieved that he managed to come back from the dead, because that's incredibly lucky, and probably cost him one of his 9 lives, so to speak. However, Ash is undaunted by this, and decides, you know what? This will be the Pokemon we catch. Let's battle! And the battle begins with Ash wisely going straight away for an Iron Tail, which would normally be super effective on a Mimikyu. However, the best he could do is break its disguise, and quickly see that this Mimikyu is really strong. It is definitely going to give Pikachu a run for his money, as a combination of Play Rough and Shadow Claw are definitely proven to be really hard-hitting attacks. And the battle is somewhat interrupted when Team Rocket makes their stance and begins their Sun and Moon version of the Team Rocket motto, which really amuses me. The art direction is really interesting to me and kind of makes me laugh because it reminds me a lot of JoJo, and the gold kanji stuff is just amusing. There's something so overly elaborate yet simpler yet just silly about this, and it's the sketch style. The sketch style during their motto is amusing to me. And Team Rocket promptly introduces themselves, which leads to Rotom Dex just taking a bunch of pictures of a talking Meowth when he realizes, oh hey, I'm not the only talking Pokemon around here. Well, technically he's the Pokédex with a Rotom inside, but still. Ash's friends are kinda confused by what Team Rocket is, but Ash does the very common explain who they are, they're bad guys who steal Pokemon, and while Team Rocket wasn't expecting to encounter Ash in the Alola region, nevertheless they are thrilled by the opportunity to catch Pikachu at long last. However, since the only Pokemon they have at this point are Meowth and Wobbuffet, Jessie orders Meowth to cut to the chase and start battling Pikachu. However, that won't be needed, as Mimikyu intervenes. Mimikyu wants Pikachu's blood, because you see, this Mimikyu, or maybe this is all Mimikyus, apparently, as translated by Meowth, Mimikyu doesn't wear this disguise of a Pikachu because it likes it. It hates Pikachu. A lot. In fact, there's nothing more it hates than Pikachu. And the creepy aura is just haunting, and apparently the words that Mimikyu is saying are so haunting that Meowth doesn't want to continue translating what it's saying anymore. And Mimikyu prepares a Shadow Ball, Alright? But it's looking really powerful, really foreboding. Team Rocket are thrilled that this powerful Pokemon is on their side because they're about to battle Pikachu and possibly win this time. And then Bewear shows up and kidnaps them. Just scoops them up in his arms and takes Jessie and James away. Everyone is in speechless awe as Rotom Dex scans the Bewear and explains its Pokedex entry. Then Meowth goes to yell at Mimikyu saying, "This isn't the time to battle Pikachu anymore. Our priority is Jessie and James." Mimikyu cancels its Shadow Ball, and Meowth picks it up, and Meowth and Wobbuffet make chase after the Bewear, which has kidnapped Jessie and James. Ash is a little distraught that he couldn't battle and capture the Mimikyu, but quickly keeps his eye on the prize as they go back into the forest to hunt for more Pokemon. And according to Rotom Dex, the odds of encountering a Pokemon in the forest has actually gone up. So things are looking good. And our episode ends. This was another hour-long special. I think Japan did this mainly so they could be ahead of the dub, because again, the dub was getting really close to the Japanese version. And overall, this episode was a lot of fun. It was our introduction to Jessie and James, which I couldn't comment on their character designs yet. Jessie, I think, translated pretty well to the new art style. James, I will fully admit, is going to take some getting used to. His hair is just really poofy and kind of exaggerated in a way that's weird with the art style that makes every point now round. I'm sure I'll get used to it, but it's definitely a new look for his character. And it's the only design that I really have any sort of mild issue with. Rotom Dex is thankfully not nearly as annoying as I was worried he would be. I can see why some would find him irritating, but maybe I'm just trained to not be annoyed by these kind of characters as much. But then again, I watch Digimon Universe Apply Monsters, and I'm constantly annoyed by half the characters in that show. So the Rotom might honestly be legitimately good writing. The Mimikyu is actually quite amazing. I love how Team Rocket actually has a legitimately strong Pokemon on their side. Even though they haven't officially caught it yet, it's pretty much going to work for them at this rate. And then the Bewear. I didn't realize this would become a running gag, but what you're looking at is the birth of one of my favorite running gags, which we will explore in upcoming episodes. Overall, this episode was a lot of fun, though it is another introduction episode. It's establishing more character formulas, it's establishing Team Rocket, it introduced the Rotom Dex, and it's only part 1 in an hour-long special. So for the rest of the storyline of this mini-arc, we'll continue that in episode 4. But for now, guys, this was a really good episode. I enjoyed it, and it was a great reintroduction to some classic characters that a lot of people like, and some new ones that I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy too. But for now, guys, I'm Silver August, bringing you my review of episode 3 of the Sun and Moon anime in Japanese from Pocket Monster Subs, and I'll catch you all next time for episode 4. Till then, guys, see you all next time.